here's the deal. My baby sister is graduating high school and I'm gonna go out to California to visit her. She doesn't know, so it's a surprise. I'm really excited about that. But I realized that I'm supposed to like look nice for graduation or something. Anyways, I'm not super happy with my closet at the moment, which is obviously why I'm on this sewing journey, just like everyone else who sews, right? So I don't have anything in my wardrobe that I think will be appropriate for a high school graduation, like as a guest, obviously. So I leave in 2 days and I want to make a dress, which means that I wanted to pick something simple, but I also wanted to use the fabric stash that I already have. So I was looking around in my fabric stash and I realized I had leftover purple linen from a previous project, and I'm gonna use that purple linen to make like a simple slip dress. I've wanted to make a classic slip dress with a slit all the way up the thigh, all the way up to the thigh for a while, but I hadn't found a pattern that I liked. I didn't really want to pattern that myself, and I didn't have a reason to make it. So thus, here we are. We have a reason to make it. I am making a purple linen dress today. I was browsing around and I decided I'm gonna make I don't know what it's called, let me look. So I decided I'm gonna make the simple slip dress by the Essentials Club. I'll link her video down below. It's just a tutorial. You don't even need to buy a pattern, which is fantastic. Which obviously means that this isn't really going to be a tutorial. It's more so me following a tutorial and you getting to see the finished product and following along on how it goes. The linen is currently being pre-washed in the washing machine, and then unfortunately I currently live in an apartment that has washer dryer hookups, but I can't have both a washer and a dryer because if we stack them there's like a cabinet in the way, and if we put them next to each other then we completely block the back door. I don't know who came up with that design. It surely wasn't me because that's the silliest thing. Anyways, I'm washing the fabric at home because I have a washing machine, and then I'm taking the fabric to the laundromat to dry because I do not have a dryer. Once that is all done, we will get into the project. But for now, in the meantime, while everything is pre-washing, I figured I would do a few mending projects. Okay, we're finally back. I have my pre-washed fabric. I also went to the fabric store. I got 2 different types of suiting. I got a black one and like a creamy off-white one. They're both about a yard. One's 1.25 yards. I'm hoping it's enough fabric to make some bisque trousers. Trouser short version. I've made it before. They're amazing and I'm ready to make more. So we'll see if I can do that tomorrow. Those are being pre-washed right now. I also got some thread to color. I also got thread that matches this color, and I think we're finally ready to start on the dress. Okay, I've plotted everything out here based on this gal, and now I'm gonna cut this all out and we're gonna start shaping shit up. Okay, now we're gonna plot some points for the top piece so that we can make the neckline here. Okay, I'm gonna cut out the lining next with what's left over of this fabric. That way I can use this full length and it'll make sure that the interior isn't see-through. Okay, the facing is all cut, and now we're gonna work on the straps. I'm gonna take these straps and I'm going to fold them in half, and then I'm going to pin them down all the way through, and we're gonna do a straight stitch. Time to flip these babies inside out. I'm gonna use a pin. I'm going to open the pin and push the pin through here, and then close it and just start pushing it all the way back through itself. It'll be relatively easy because these are really wide straps. Ta-da! These are both flipped out now, and I'm going to take them to the iron to press them down and make them nice and crispy. Now that these are both pressed, I'm going to top stitch on both sides so that it stays in place when I put it through the wash. The straps are now prepped and we are going to stick them inside this front facing, but I realized that instead of doing slits at the sides here, I want to do a slit kind of up this middle area, the thigh. So I'm actually going to work on the front panel first, and then we'll get to putting these inside of the front panel. So I held the front panel up to my body and I decided that this is where I wanted the slit to be. This should end up about mid-thigh, but essentially I pressed this in place rather than cutting it. The top portion is over here. I just folded this in place first, and then I'm going to do a stitch all the way down here, and then I'm gonna hold it up to my body again, make sure that the stitch is actually where I want it before I cut it, and then from there we can do a top stitch on it. That seam is in place now, and now I'm holding the panel up to my body, and you can see that the seam here lines up kind of with my ankle, and that's what I wanted. So now I'm gonna go up to about mid-thigh, I'll put a pin there, and then I'm gonna cut all the way up through there, and then I'll show you how to do the slit. Okay, so my pin is in place here. That's where I want the slit to end. And this is the bottom of the dress. I'm gonna cut all the way up to that point, and then I'm gonna unpick the seam to here. So the seam is in place here, and then I cut open the seam here and I completely unstitched it. Now what I'm gonna do is pull back both sides like this, and I'm going to iron it down all the way down to the bottom here. Now you're going to fold this raw hem under and you're going to press it down. That way the raw edge is enclosed. The slit is in place and all the raw edges are turned under. So what we're going to do is we're going to top stitch really close to this edge here all the way to here, and then we're going to go here and all the way back down. Alright guys, I don't know about you, but I think this is starting to look really nice. Please excuse the spots on the mirror, but this slit is fantastic. Could have probably gone a little bit higher, but I'm happy about this. We are now at a point where we can sandwich these straps in between the facing and the front piece. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in between here with this going this way on the inside of them. The straps are sandwiched inside there and I'm holding them down with these clips here. We're going to do a straight stitch from the armpit all the way up to here, then straight stitch across here and keep going to the end of the armpit here. This is all ironed and looking pretty. I think I'm gonna understitch that seam allowance to the back side here so that when it goes through the wash, it still has this nice crease in it, but there's no top stitching on the front here. Okay, it's fully understitched now, so you can see the stitch on this side. But when you flip it over to the front side, there is no visible seam. So the next thing to do is to sandwich the straps in between the back piece and the back pieces facing. I have already pinned them where I want them to be. It's just basically in line with these guys here so that it's all the same distance apart, and then I'm going to add the spacing to it and I'm going to pin it all down together. All right, it's all pinned in place, and now I'm going to do a straight stitch all the way through here. Then I'm going to flip it open, press it, and understitch. Okay, so the front and back pieces are now attached by the straps. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these side seams, I'm going to open them, and I'm going to serge all the way around the edges. So we're going to do that on this side, this side, this side, and this side. So it's going to happen 4 times. The side seams are fully serged now. So what's gonna happen next is you're gonna take the front panel and the back panel and you're gonna match up where the armpit seams are and you're gonna put a pin through them, and then I'm gonna open it up all the way and I'm going to, what's the word? I'm gonna sew a straight stitch all the way across on both sides, and that'll enclose everything together. So for example, here's the 2 armpit pieces. I'm going to match the seams up nicely here, and then I'm gonna take a pin and I'm gonna pin it in place so that the seams stay where they're supposed to be, and then just gonna straight stitch all the way down. Side seams are sewn together and now it is one big tube. What's gonna happen now is I'm going to take those side seams and I'm going to press them open so that there's just less bulk in every area, and I'm going to press them all the way to here. Okay, I felt like I was at a good try-on point because it mostly looks like a dress at this point, but as you can see, there's like a lot of space in here on both sides. Definitely too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it in on the sides, but I like how like wide it is to my hip, so I'm basically just gonna taper from here to here and the same on this side so that they mirror each other. And then it should be pretty good to go, and we'll just do the interior hem on that lining, and then we're also going to do the hem at the bottom here. Okay, you guys, it has been a hot minute. It took a little bit longer to take in the side seams than I had expected. I just played around with this shape for a while, and then I finally figured out what I wanted. Anyways, I've finished all that portion, and now all I have to do is press the hem. I did serge the edge of the hem just because that, I don't know, it's just like cleaner and easier to work with because then there's no like fraying edges that are like getting in your way. So I'm going to press the hem, I'm going to finish the hem, and then it'll be done. Okay, she's done and I'm psyched. Fits super well. It has this nice slit for my legs so I can walk really easily. I would call that a success.